being in the Hatfield McCoy family, it dates back to early 1800s, through Civil War. I grew up on the Tug River, Freeburg, Kentucky, near Matewan, West Virginia, where most of the Hatfields were from. On my mom's side, I grew up in a household where nobody talked about liquor, nobody drank, and then on the Hatfield side was the heritage, through moonshine. So I knew it was all there. I grew up with the family history, hearing it every day, even in history class learning about it. So we just, the family I grew up with that didn't do it, we just ignored it, act like it wasn't even there. So, but that's how I got to where I am now. Is I'm a metal artist, and I just incorporated my love for metal art into moonshine steels, making moonshine, and building motorcycles. I grew up with my grandpa taught me everything, and I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for him. He was a rough person to work for. I grew up handing him tools, learning how to make stuff. I was amazed at what he built and what he fixed. But he was a stern person, didn't show much emotion as far, but if he did show emotion, it was extreme. So he was one of those that didn't show his emotion to people, but he was hard to work with, but I'm glad I did, because I learned a lot from him. He was really good-hearted. He gave us everything. If it wasn't for my grandpa and grandma, we wouldn't have anything. My mom grew up just her and us three, and they helped us out a lot. For some reason, I can watch something one time. I've got a photographic memory. Once I see it done, I can do it myself. So they just turned me loose on it. I didn't make the best, I guess. Obviously, first few times. But I enjoyed it, but didn't have much patience for sitting around. And I still don't have that patience. I guess it's not like nowadays where the family's been on TV and movies have been made. After that, you feel like you need to step up and be able to do good, make a good product. But back then, it didn't even really think of it that way. Because to us, it was just our family history. And then, we got, people always ask if I was from the family and this and that. But since all the Hollywood drama, it has picked up quite a bit. Seems like everybody and their brothers thinks they're a Hatfield or a McCoy, just because they have a lineage to it. I guess jumping on the bandwagon. But I've heard it my whole life, and to me it's just second nature and a family history. I'm actually come from both sides of the family. I come from Dave Lance's grandpa Ephraim, and come down that line and have the Hatfield name. But my grandmother, her name was Irma Guzlin, and she married James Hatfield, the one I was named after. She comes from Mary McCoy, which is Asa Harmon McCoy's daughter. So Randall McCoy's brother is my fifth great grandfather. So I'm actually closer to the feud on the McCoy side. And what's ironic is my distant cousin Jim Vance killed my fifth great grandfather. I've done just about every form of art that you can think of, and I've always never knew I didn't really know exactly what I liked. until I took welding and fabrication my junior and senior year in high school, and fell in love with it. Metal art, been able to manipulate metal. So I started riding bikes, and then I incorporated my metal art into building motorcycles. And then, you know, with my family heritage, I just started doing moonshine steels, because none of mine are identical. I don't have a cookie cut out, and they're like, you know, they're art to me. So that's how that got started. The first steel I built got auctioned off to raise money for an animal rescue. I do a lot of veteran animal rescue benefits to raise money, and every benefit I do, I always build a steel and let them auction it off, and 100% of the proceeds go to whatever we do. So that particular one was a 10-gallon steel, and it was an auction in Nashville for Agape Animal Rescue, and that one actually went for $4,000, and I normally only sell those for $600. But Jesse James Deckers, I don't know if anybody knows who that is, she's the one that outbid the other guy, and when she won that for $4,000, I asked the guy if he matched her bid, I'd build him one. So I ended up raising $8,000 off of 2 steels. So that's what I think that was. I started doing that for a while, and then I had people start ordering them, and then that's when I started actually building them particularly for people. Nowadays it's got to where it's more like a hobby, because I love making brandy. So when I get time off of this, which this business, you know, didn't boom until about a year or two ago, where I was building 1 to 2 steels a month. Now I get 1 to 5 orders a day. So that takes all my time now, because I mainly work from the time I get up to the time I go to bed, maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'll have to take time off to do the bikes, and then take time to do the runs, but it's gotten now to where I only do it probably 2 or 3 times a year, as opposed to before I did it, you know, quite a bit. Like, I don't really have heroes. They're more friends, you know, and I learn from anybody. I can learn from a new guy, same as I can from the older guys. So I can't really say I have a hero, you know. My hero would be my grandpa, you know. He did everything for us. So that's what it'd be. You can learn from the older guys because they've been through it, but then you got to worry about the guys that think they know it all, and just because they're older don't mean they know it all, you know. And then you got these younger guys that come up with new ideas, you know, that really work. And you know, I've come up with stuff that, like my recipe that I'm going to come out with, that nobody in the world's ever done. So the older people will be learning off of me, you know, whereas, you know, you can learn off of anybody, no matter who it is. It's just you got to be open-minded to do that, and not be prideful and, you know, act like, you know, oh, you can't do that. You got people like, I want to say a couple names, but that just throw themselves into the business. They're backstabbers, but overall, the moonshining community has treated me better than my own family, other than my grandpa and my mom. Yeah, it's become a trend. Most of the big commercial distilleries have lied to the people. You know, it's not real moonshine. You know, hardly any corn in it. They don't make it the way they used to make it, and mainly a lot of them buy it. from big distilleries. And it's just what I don't like about it is you've got mainstream everybody tasting their stuff and thinking that's moonshine, and when they taste my moonshine, they're like, that's not moonshine. You know what I'm saying? So the fake moonshine has become the real moonshine to, just the people that don't know, that's not part of the community, that's never tasted. They buy it just to say they've got moonshine or they've tasted moonshine. From experience, from using stainless or copper, I don't know what the chemistry is in it. It just, to me, it tastes better. Gets rid of the impurities, but I just stick with what the old timers did. It's easier to work with me. For me, stainless is easier to clean though. But other than that, I prefer it, but it's just a preference. And if you get into the chemistry of it, you can explain it better, but I just never did do that. I make all my mash the old time way, build the stills the old time way. I don't worry about pH levels, bubblers. Mine are all open fermentation. I just don't put much worry into it. What it produces, just like it used to be. But I mean, honestly, I wouldn't consider myself a moonshiner like the moonshiners back in the day that had to do it to make money to survive. I started doing it because I learned how to do it, but I went years without doing anything, and then I do it every once in a while. But then I got to a point where I got tired of people making money off my name and not being part of the family and not telling the true story. So I'm like, I'm a real descendant of both sides of the family. I should be making that money. So I got into perfecting what I like doing with the stills and learning more about doing brandies and actually making good flavor out of the mash and not flavoring it after it come out like they do nowadays. Because I got people bragging about how good it tastes, and when I taste it, I don't taste any alcohol in it. But they're catering to the people that can't handle the liquor that's in it. So, but I can't say anything about that either because I make more money off of them. I'd rather sell 3 jars of mix than I would 1 jar clear because I make more money. But that's how people that sell all the time, that's how they make their money now. Whereas I just do it every once in a while, and I'll flavor up some for, when I make it nowadays, it's to give to friends, test it out and try new stuff. We were running one night and it was down in the guy's basement. We was doing a 30-gallon that I'd built him, and out of one of the side windows that's up high, you could see a faint blue light, and we was like, shit, what's going on? And so he goes and shuts the flame completely off without thinking, and he runs upstairs and he opens the door and there's police standing there, but they had he's like, what's going on? They said, nothing, we just pulled this guy over in your yard. So they're standing there talking, and next thing you know, one of the biggest explosion sounds you ever heard. And the cop was like, what was that? And he goes, my buddy's down in the basement working on something. So they went on their way. He went down there, and it was all over the roof where it pulled back pressure. It had crushed that 30-gallon like a pop can, and it bent the whole top over. there was holes all in the sides, and it was everywhere. But funny thing was, not one of my welds broke. But that was the best one I've seen yet. Just enjoy it and perfect it the way you want it. You know, start out small. If you like it, you'll keep it and upgrade. If not, it'll just be, you know, just a hobby every once in a while. But it's actually enjoyable. It's relaxing if you've got the patience to wait on it. But it's an art, you know. It's something that we've done to make money. We've done to party and have fun with, you know. It's just an awesome heritage. I want people to remember me as a builder, somebody, an architect, an engineer, but somebody that has helped them, you know, move on through this heritage, making moonshine stills, making liquor. Somebody they look at as, you know, a friend that helped them get through and learn. I guess that's it.